Hello everyone, I'm Brior, and welcome back to Goodgame Empire. This video is a review of the new 9-piece seasonal commander set, the Artifacts of the Phoenix Knight. Goodgame Studios had this set available during the seasonal event for March, and I just checked the forums, and it looks like the set will be available again in April. That means that you could get up to 4 copies of this set. The reason I wanted to make a video about it is because it's actually pretty good, and I figured that I would let you all know before the opportunity to get it for free goes away. Versions of this set have actually been available in the game for quite some time. The Artifacts of the Phoenix Knight is a set that you can get via the Wheel of Fortune. However, the Wheel of Fortune is mostly based on luck, so that can be fairly unreliable. In order to collect this set from the Wheel of Fortune, you would first have to spin the wheel many times in order to level it up and gain access to better jackpot rewards, and then you would have to spin it many more times to get all of the pieces for the set. It's possible that even if you saved up thousands of tickets for the Wheel of Fortune, you might collect 8 pieces of the set and not all 9, thereby rendering the set more or less useless. So that would be really frustrating, and I wouldn't take that avenue, even if I could, because of course Goodgame Studios recently made the Wheel of Fortune 10 times more expensive, and they've virtually stopped giving out Wheel of Fortune tickets for free in the game. So once again, in order to get the set that way, you'd have to be a big ruby spender. You've also been able to purchase several different versions of this set from the equipment trader, although I honestly don't know if they ever go on sale. This particular set is available for the regular price of over 400,000 rubies, so I'm not quite sure why Goodgame Studios put this set available for free in the game, but they did so, and we might as well take advantage of that. The version of the Artifacts of the Phoenix Knight that was being offered last month was rare power level 1, but this month you can get a rare power level 5, and I'll go over the stats in just one moment. The power level means that in the future, potentially, you might be able to upgrade it if Goodgame Studios decides to add a fusion forge for equipment. They were originally planning to do that last year, but they mentioned in a live stream that they had encountered difficulties and had postponed the introduction of that feature. And we haven't heard about it for a number of months now, so it's quite possible they're not working on it and it will never come. So let's discuss the stats for the level 5 rare Artifacts of the Phoenix Knight commander set, shall we? Against NPC targets, you'll be getting 110% melee and 110% ranged combat strength, plus an additional 105% courtyard combat strength. Now against foreign invaders, you'll only be getting a 90-90 commander with 45% courtyard combat strength, which is quite weak, and I'll return to that in just a moment. But it's safe to say that you won't be using this commander ideally for any PvP. Moving on, this commander also offers 110% wall reduction and 110% gate reduction. These values are a little bit lower than some of the other NPC sets, like the Desert Sorceress, for example, so you will need to send a few more wooden tools against Nomad and Samurai camps and the like. That's kind of disappointing. The commander does, however, give the maximum moat reduction, that's 80%. However, most NPC targets do not have moats. In fact, the only ones that do, I believe, are in the Storm Islands, so that's kind of irrelevant here. The commander only offers an additional 15% unit limit on the flanks. That's pitiful compared to other NPC commanders, and as a result, you will be taking more losses on the flanks when you use the Artifacts of the Phoenix Knight. However, the commander does offer 80% army travel speed, that's top of the line, and it will help low-level players make it to dragons and desert fortresses before anyone else. And as we all know, that's one of the key ways to loot rubies in the game. Next up, it will give you an additional 30% resources looted, that's okay, and an additional 110% glory points against foreign invader targets. Yes, you heard me right, 110%. Now, many players, myself included, have been asking whether or not this additional glory bonus will be offset by this commander's weakness in the courtyard. And so over the past few weeks, I've put both versions of this set the rare level 1 and the rare level 5 to the test against those targets, and I've found that it does a pretty good job against medium-sized targets. We're talking anywhere in the range from 2,500 defenders all the way up to 5,000 defenders. It does a really good job with those targets. However, if you have a target with more defenders than that, the courtyard fight is going to be more important, and I think you would do better to use a commander with a greater courtyard combat strength bonus. Remember, if you are getting even just 60 additional glory points, percentage points from your commander, that is the equivalent of just a few horsetail standards, so it might not actually be that big of a deal. However, there's one final twist for you to consider, and that is that if you have a very strong foreign invader target and you attack it but you don't defeat it, if you just leave it alone, there's a pretty good chance it will regenerate. There's also a pretty good chance that it will be replaced by a very weak foreign invader, so you're taking a risk. But if you leave it alone, all of a sudden, you might have another powerful target that you can get more glory points from, so maybe you don't always want to defeat your foreign invaders, but that's up to you, and the bottom line is I think this commander is serviceable for the foreign invaders. However, where this commander really stands out is, of course, against nomad camps and samurai camps, because as you can see, it offers an additional 20% tokens and tablets looted. That means that you won't have to worry anymore about sending a few token chests, for example, against those targets just to collect the minimum 75 tokens necessary to secure extra points during the seasonal event. You won't have to worry about that anymore. And it also means that if you're using your commanders to attack those targets hundreds of times, if you're using the artifacts of the Phoenix Knight, you will simply get more tokens and tablets, and that will add up over time. So I think you will be better off using this commander, and I do think it's worth spending even 20 million coins at the Technicus to upgrade all pieces here to +20. Speaking of which, here is a clip of me doing that. So here is my verdict on this commander. It's pretty good, and for most players, it will be worth having. Goodgame Studios has recently given players the opportunity to upgrade their encampment using upgrade and construction tokens, and so most players will have additional commander slots available in the near future, and filling those slots with these pieces of equipment is, I think, a good idea. It is not as good of a set as some other NPC commanders, such as the Desert Sorceress, for example, but here's the thing. The Desert Sorceress hasn't been available for a long time. The original version, the better version, hasn't been available for years. And so for any new players who have joined and who don't have those old but good sets, this is a great opportunity to put yourself on the map. Because this commander does offer 80% travel speed, it will be able to reach desert fortresses and dragons in time. Of course, that is how you can collect rubies for free in the game, and once again, that is a crucial factor for new players. Now, every time a seasonal event runs, players are able to collect up to 2 copies of the equipment set. Doing so does require collecting thousands of seasonal points, however. The first copy checks in at 1,250 seasonal points, whereas the second copy is at 5,500. The first copy should be easy to get, but the second copy might not be so much. In fact, I've never done it myself, but I'll be aiming to do it this coming month in April. So here are some tips for players who might struggle with the seasonal event. Number 1, if you're not already, do be sure to send a few token chests or tablet chests for your attacks against nomad and samurai camps. This way, if you just send maybe 2, you will have a far greater chance of collecting at least 75 tokens or tablets. That will mean that you'll get double the points for your attack. Pay attention to when your seasonal point boosters are about to unlock, and ideally trigger them when you have hours to play the game and collect points. If you trigger a 6-hour booster and then go to bed, that is a wasted booster. Goodgame Studios has been putting in a new ruby offer, in players' inboxes. You can click on it and it will give you a 2-hour window in which to purchase a seasonal booster for rubies. Ordinarily, I would not recommend this because ordinarily the equipment sets are not that great. However, if you are committed to getting a second copy of this set, I would consider purchasing that, so that's up to you. Personally, I have the easiest time collecting a lot of seasonal points during the Nomad and Samurai invasions. However, I do know a few players who are very good at the Foreigner and Bloodcrow invasions and can get a lot of points there as well. Finally, Goodgame Studios has occasionally been running the Bearment Invasion. That's the version of the event which appears on the green map, and you can get points there as well. Be sure to double up your attacks, run trains on those targets just like you would with Nomad and Samurai camps. Running trains against Bearment camps is a little bit harder for a number of reasons. First, the setups are more difficult and they do change, so you can run the risk of taking extra losses. In fact, you definitely will. Furthermore, after you defeat one of those camps, it will disappear from the world map for 30 seconds, and during that time, you cannot attack it. However, when it pops back up, you can attack it, and any attack that lands right after it pops back up will go through. So it is possible, and once again, if you're willing to take a few more losses, you will definitely collect many, many more seasonal points. It is worth noting that while most players will be able to complete one copy of this set within just one day, only during one event, in order to get that second copy, you will need to participate in multiple events during the course of the month, and you shouldn't sit on an 18-hour booster just because the Foreigners are here and you're waiting for the Nomads. If you, for example, collect the first copy of the set during the Nomads, then you'll be spending so many accelerators that you'll nearly run out, and in order to continue collecting points, you will actually need to participate against the Foreigners. Or, I suppose you could purchase accelerators, and many players might actually choose to do so. It's up to you, but for free-to-play players, you will need to be active throughout the entire month. Anyways, I think that about wraps it up for this commander, so thank you very much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please help me out by leaving a like. That, of course, makes the video appear more popular to YouTube, and it will be promoted more, which does actually do something for my channel. Anyways, as always, I've been Brior. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.